But let's bring in Sam Chidok, our MD, Kairos Capital Limited, join us via Zoom. Great to have you in the show. Good morning.
Good morning, and great to be here. Hi, Ladi.
Yeah. So I guess that blip we saw with inflation on a month-on-month basis wasn't enough, to pause, the rate hikes. I guess we still keep, fighting with more raises.
Yeah, apparently, I would say that it came as a surprise to most market watchers that the monetary policy rate was increased by 100 basis points. Because, I mean, you saw a decrease, a deceleration of inflation in December. Though it was a marginal decrease, but it went down 21.3% for December. Usually, December is a month that you see a hike in inflation based on expansion in families and household expenditure and all the price increases based on just the process of demand and supply that happens in December. But this last December, we saw a deceleration of inflation, which is a good pointer. So perhaps many of us expected that either the MPR would have been retained where it was, or maybe slightly increased, maybe not more than 50 basis points. But 100 basis point was, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and obviously, we've heard, manufacturers lament about the last increases in 2022. That was about 500 basis points, but we're still going higher at this point. What's going to happen, with the manufacturers and SMEs at this point?
So for the central bank, I think they're narrowly focused on fighting inflation and also trying to rein in the issues around exchange rate. However, you have to also look at the cost of capital formation in the country. And that every time you increase the base rate, which is the MPR, what generally happens is that everybody prices over that. Bank loans, most people who have bank loans, well, many of them should expect letters from their bankers from today to tomorrow, increasing the cost of their borrowing. It's just going to happen. So for a manufacturing concern who is also considering the elasticity of his product and receiving an increase in pricing from his loans, can he carry on and increase the cost of his goods? It depends on the kind of goods he manufactures. That's going to be difficult. So for manufacturing concerns, for SMEs, for even households, for people who have mortgages, for people who have personal loans, those things are going to get more expensive. Then also in the cost of raising capital to do business, even if it's working capital finance, even if it's from the capital market, the cost is going to go up because everybody's got to price over and above this base rate. So it's a two-edged sword. While it fights inflation on one side, it also affects the fragile nature of the growth that we've seen in the country in recent time. And I dare say that we might see a deceleration in growth based on these increases.
And also, we did, hear the governor, talk about that January 31st deadline. He's saying there's no, extension. So I'm wondering what happens to people that are still stuck with the old notes, and how does this impact the economy going forward?
Well, so we've heard from the horse's mouth. The governor says there's not going to be any change. So if you have the old note, all you need to do is to go to your bank right now and switch it. Whether the banks have enough of the new notes to give to people, that's a different story entirely. Last week, I happened to use an ATM and they still give out the old note. This morning, I just tried it out to see what's happening. And one of the first generation banks, one of the tier one banks, was the new notes that came out of the ATM. So that's good news, right? So we already know that 31st December is the deadline. It's going to be difficult. I dare say that some people in the rural area might be caught up with the old notes, but it's important that as we hear all of this, that people make a determination to go and change to the new note and adapt to it. I would have been one of those to advocate for a shift in the date, just to make sure that you carry along as many people as possible. But I mean, it's a call of the central bank. They're within their right, they're within the law to change the currency and to put such dates. So I think for the rest of us, we just have to comply.
All right. I guess we'll have to comply, and obviously we're seeing the impact on other channels for transactions. But thank you so much, Mr. Sam Chidok, MD, Kairos Capital Limited. It was great having your perspective today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.